I think, as we go through these changes that are happening in our world, we're going to continue to need quiet places where we can just kind of regroup and recenter with ourselves and with, a spouse or a loved one, even our child, to just kind of curl up and be with things that make us feel good and whole.
Welcome back to Talking with Teri TV. Our home is our sanctuary. It's a place where we can relax after a long day, where we can spend time with our family, and where we hold a sacred place for our energy too. Mary Wright with Design Wright Studios is here to show us how we can create those sacred spaces in our homes and the importance of our overall well-being. Welcome to the show, Mary.
Thank you so much for having me, Teri.
I'm so excited. Okay, so let's unpack this a little bit. Talk to us a little bit about what is the importance of having a sacred space and what is this about?
Well, I think sometimes we underestimate how important home is.
Yeah.
And since I've been in interior design for 20-some years, it has always been really important to me. I grew up in a huge family with 9 children, and so we spent a lot of time at home. We didn't have a lot of extra resources to travel, and home was where we even had vacations. So I learned that at a young age, and even though we didn't have a lot of space, I found ways to create my own little places at home that I felt were mine.
I love it.
Yeah.
I reminded, when I was growing up, to find my own space, I would actually pack a little bag and I would take it down into our yard, and I would put out a blanket, I had some food, I had music, I had my journal, and I would just create this little space. But as you're saying this, I'm like, yeah, I created my own little sanctuary space right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love it. Okay.
And like you said, it's where we start our day, it's where we end our day. And so just, this crazy world that we're living in, especially now, it just seems to get crazier and crazier.
Well, and I guess in light of all of this, the world as we know it is evolving at such an incredible pace right now. And I think it's even more important now to create, these almost like retreat areas or a space that we can go and really get plugged back in, recharge, refuel.
And recenter.
Yes.
Yes, and I think that's, I want to bring that vocabulary to designers even, because they don't realize, but they do that all the time when they're working with clients. It's just never called sacred. It's never really looked at as this reverence to this place that they're creating and call home.
And I think it's whether you're spiritually, no matter where you're at, on your spiritual, religious, belief systems, it's really just creating a place that we can reconnect with and recharge with. So say more about that from your aspect.
Well, and today we'll talk about 2 different types of sacred spaces.
Okay.
One being for just the person who may even be agnostic, and not have a feeling of spirituality or God or anything that they want to participate in. However, nature is a big place where people find that connection.
Yeah.
And that sacred space can be things found in nature, plants, floral.
Yeah. And you brought
animals,
you
pets.
created what did you call this? You called this a...
Well, it's a tablescape. It could be considered even a little altar or a meditation area. It could be so pared down to be a lot simpler. But I kind of brought things that evoke in me this feeling of, oneness within myself, kind of like always lighting a candle kind of brings me that sense. And, crystals are from the earth.
Yeah.
Plants are as well. We have an animal photo of a deceased pet or a beloved pet. Birds are very, obviously a part of nature.
Yeah.
And,
and even their feathers. I love that there's some feathers in the plants. I don't know if you see
yes.
them. Yeah.
Yes. So, It's really up to the individual, and that's what's so fun about it, is that you can make it completely yours with found things on your home, in your home, objects that you find while you're vacationing.
Yeah.
Maybe something really special that was your late mother's or your grandmother's.
And I see these objects too sometimes as just not only as a remembrance too, but it's also, I see it as it serves as an anchoring, right? Like things that we found on, certain trips, and it's like anchoring in a really fun memory or an event that we went to or whatever, and it can be really powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. And memories are really important, especially, to have those good memories that we can look at every day.
Yeah.
Reminds us when things are rough.
Okay, so this is the first example that you have.
Yes.
And this is more, what would you call this? This
It's more nature.
Okay.
It's kind of a take back to nature and to kind of your own being.
Okay, I love it. Okay.
Yeah.
And so why is this important for folks to, create these types of spaces in their homes?
Well, I think, as we go through these changes that are happening in our world, we're going to continue to need quiet places where we can just kind of regroup and recenter with ourselves and with, a spouse or a loved one, even our child, to just kind of curl up and be with things that make us feel good and whole and, kind of back to who we are.
And I think too, like we are like now post-pandemic, but the pandemic brought people home, right?
Yes.
And so now it started changing the scape and the setup of our home because now it became an office, it became childcare, it became a school, it became it became all these areas, right?
Yeah, restaurant.
And it became like this more important than ever before is to really define these spaces and create spaces.
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up because what I found when I was bringing these objects together to come today was that I have them scattered about.
Yeah.
And so, we talk about energy and preserving our energy. The crystals, these special minerals and crystals from the earth really help boost our energy.
Yeah.
They can calm our energy.
Yeah.
They can, change how maybe we're walking in the door and within an hour we feel differently. We feel better.
I have one. Hiding back here.
That's right.
This is for communication. I'm like, yeah, this is great.
Awesome. Yeah. And the rose quartz is for love and connection. And the lavender is all about, dispelling negative energy that we might have brought into the home. So it's fun and it's important and it adds color and sparkle and interest and you can put it around. You can just dose it in every room.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be concentrated like we see here.
Yeah. This is kind of a nice example of the different objects. So what are some of the benefits of creating, sacred spaces in our homes?
Well, I would say that it just makes us feel like we want to go there.
Yeah.
To be home and to be able to have somewhere to go where we can feel good and regroup and refresh just based on this positivity that's felt in the space is really important. It charges us up to start our day and it kind of can help us settle into our evening and our nighttime and our sleep.
I love it. So let's take this a step further. Is there, certain practices or certain things that you do to really help ground in and really recharge, based on your spaces?
Yeah, so I have a pretty devoted spiritual practice, so it might not relate to all viewers, but every morning I get up and I sit quietly it starts out dark because it's early. I try and get up a little bit before sunrise when the energy is really powerful. And it's kind of when the whole world is waking up. And just quiet my mind and my heart and center into that space inside that is kind of who I am. And I always light a candle or 3. I usually have multiples. And I just spend some time quietly meditating. And honestly, it's really just being. It's not about praying, although I do that too, but
Mhm.
it's just anchoring in and being quiet and feeling who I am.
I love it.
And it's a great way to start the day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're grounded. And when we're in that place of grounded energy, we can take on and how we start our day is how we, create the day, right?
And show up in the world,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And if you're feeling that, I always try and bring the love within, we can't love others unless we're loving ourselves first. And so that's the time where I really give my pats on the back and get
Yes.
excited about who I am and what I'm
Yeah.
going to do today, how I'm
Yeah.
going to contribute
Yeah.
to make the world a better place, my life better, my family's life better, my friends, my clients and coworkers. So that's kind of what it does for me.
I love it. I love it. Well, this is a great time for us to take a small little break, and we'll be right back with Mary Wright with Design Wright Studios. Want more support in creating your success story? My products can help. Check them out. First, I have my book, Be the Magic of You, Tools to Transform Your Life. And in it, I have over 70 different tools to help reprogram your brain. Next, I have my Daily Intentions Planners. They help you create without forcing it. They combine brain science and universal laws. In addition to my book and planners, I also have 2 card decks you're sure to love, designed to support you to reconnect with your purpose, power, and potency. I also offer 2 special packages. The first is the Success Package. In it, you'll have my book and a year's supply of planners to help you bundle and save. Next is my favorite, the Empowerment Package. You can supercharge your life and business by getting all the products at one low price. But wait, there's more. I also offer a yearly subscription called the 7-Figure Business Box. Each quarter, you'll receive a physical box mailed to your home, a live 2-hour intensive training, an hour-long fireside chat with an expert in the industry, a guidebook packed with even more resources. To order anything you see here, just go to my website, talkingwithteri.com. And we're back with Mary Wright with Design Wright Studios. All right, we took a break, we changed out, and tell us about this tablescape now.
Well, this one definitely goes down a more spiritual path.
Yes.
And for me, I was raised Roman Catholic, and so I grew up with an affinity to the Blessed Mother.
Yeah.
Mother is really important. I am one.
Yeah.
I am now a grandmother.
Yay,
And I
congratulations.
love that. And so, but my spirituality has changed and developed and gone through, it's kind of been a long and winding road, but
Yeah.
a beautiful one. And I like to bring in kind of all the faiths, all the
Yeah.
religions. I don't really call myself religious anymore.
Yeah.
It's spiritual.
Yeah.
And these, objects, sometimes goddesses, deities, they just make me feel like I'm one in a way.
Oh,
And
that's
it feels
beautiful.
really good.
Yeah. So in our spaces, we can actually, again, this is another great example of incorporating in the things that are important in your life, the
Mhm.
things that bring you joy, the things that help bring balance, the crystals, the various objects that you have on here. And some of them I see that are from your travels and things like
Mhm.
that. And so, again, it's going back to, really anchoring in,
Mhm.
what brings you joy.
Yeah. Anchoring in, clearing.
Mhm.
There's a lot to do with kind of being out in the world. You have a rough day. There's been some people
Yeah.
maybe that have crossed your path that haven't been real nice.
Mhm.
And you've done your best to not match their energy.
Yeah.
But when you get home, sometimes you need to clear a little bit. And
So
the
say more
vibration.
say more about that, because maybe people don't know what you just did there.
So as we have learned, I mean, Einstein was one of the first ones that brought a kind of a mass understanding of that we are energy.
Yeah.
And we can also bring on other people's energy into our field,
Mhm.
which is, around us, all the air and
Yeah.
the vibration that's around us. And when we allow that in, and sometimes we don't even know we're allowing it,
Yeah.
it's really important to release it. So there's a couple of different ways you can do it. You can use, whoopsie, you can burn sage, which is what's in this little colorful bundle right here, or Palo Santos, which is
my favorite.
Yeah.
It's my favorite.
It has
It's citrus.
such a nice scent.
Such a great
Yeah.
scent.
Both, of the earth,
Mm-hmm.
and you just wand yourself with it once you get it lit and it's smoking, and it can just allow everything to fall away.
Mm-hmm.
This little nut ring will also, vibrate the negative energy off the body, out of the room.
Yeah, it breaks up the energy, and so whatever that energy is, it just helps break it up and
release
return.
it.
Yeah, release and return to our center.
Right, exactly. And if you don't like the smell or the smoke that these other things, you can just do a great room spray. Oh, that's so great.
Oh, that smells really good.
And it's refreshing. This is lavender sage, so it does both clearing and renewing.
I will say I have a great company that I love. It's by Third Eye Wood, and it's the Palo Santo.
Mm-hmm.
And of all of the products, they come the closest to the actual smelling of the Palo Santo. It's amazing.
Oh, I'll have to try that one.
Yummy, yummy, yummy stuff. But that also helps clear the energy a little behind the scenes. When I get here in the mornings and before we have guests arrive, I actually spray down our studio space so that we create a really great space for people to come into.
Perfect. Well, and you get used to understanding what that feeling of that energy is when it's not matching yours.
Yeah.
And so I do the same thing in our showroom.
Yeah.
If I walk in the door and it feels a little stale or a little thick, and I get out.
And you have such a great showroom too.
I get out the spray because obviously I'm not going to be able to smudge the space with.
It's huge. It's a huge space.
Smoky. And I'll never get it accomplished.
Furniture, right? Yeah. Your furniture. Okay. And then you also brought you also have some of these cards here, which I love. Yeah. Share a little bit more about these.
So, these are tarot cards or message cards. It can be looked at either way. And there are a plethora out there to pick from. And I brought in the goddess because the divine feminine energy of the goddess is really important to me, and as being a woman in this life.
Yeah. Okay, whenever I'm doing this, I just usually, depending on the situation or whatever, I might just ask kind of a general question like, what message do I get to receive today? And then pull out a card. Ooh, stillness.
That's so I have a beautiful one.
Okay, how do you say that? Yokiana?
Yokiana,
yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right, do you want to?
She's a Japanese goddess, and the book will correlate. It's number 52, and it will correlate with this card and give you an empowerment message or an alignment message. If the card is right side up when you pick it, you get the empowerment message. If it's upside down, there's something that you need to kind of put back into alignment around this message of stillness. So
I love it. This is all about unity and connection. I love it.
And then I usually
the time is now. Okay.
It sure is.
I love it.
Yeah. So I usually add that to my, altar or space. I have it out so I can be reminded of it. Sometimes I stick it in my purse, and during the middle of the day, it just appears, and I say, okay, stillness, or whatever it is.
Yeah, I love it. This is beautiful. So these are great tips for us to start to incorporate in whatever your comfort level is, whatever you're feeling guided to incorporate into your life, just to bring back and tap into, that inner knowing that we all have. And thank you so much for being here, sharing this. I see big things happening with you and what you're creating and evolving to.
Thank you so much.
Where can people connect with you and find out more about you? So
my showroom, I have a furniture and lighting and accessory showroom in Rhino in downtown Denver. My website is www.designwrightstudios.com. My Instagram is design_Wright, spelled like my last name, WRIGHT_studios.
Perfect. Thank you so much for being here today. And as
Pleasure.
always, thank you for joining us today for our show. Be bold, be brave, be fearless, be the magic of you. Much love to you all, and we'll see you on our next show. Thank you for joining me today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell to find out about my upcoming shows. Thank you for tuning in today, and I'll see you next time.